Today we will discuss press tools part 2. Press tool operation is one of the cheapest and fastest way of complete manufacture of a component and may be defined as a chipless manufacturing process by which various components are manufactured from sheet metal. In fact, this process is a most economical process and many of the operations can be completed in a single stroke of the ram. This process is also called as cold stamping process. The machine used for press working is called press. Let us discuss the principle of press working. Press working process is the application of large forces by press tools for short time interval, which results in cutting, shearing or permanent deformation of the work material to the required shape and size. And let us see the press tool and its parts. Here this diagram shows the most versatile machine tool, that is a open back inclinable press. So this is, there are different types of press tools in which mechanical press is most widely used, and in addition to these important press tool, hydraulic presses, other presses are also there. Let us first discuss about the simplest and first machine tool. So you can see this is the flywheel and this is a pitchman, the ram which can slide up and down, this is booster plate, and this is bed, and you can see the same right now. Let us discuss the press tool terminology now. Bed. It is the lower part of the press frame that serves as a table on which the booster plate is mounted. Next, booster plate. This is a thick plate secured to the press bed which is used for locating and supporting the die assembly. In fact, it is the strongest plate made up of steel on which the die set is located properly, and also it takes sufficient loads without any deformation. And this is an isometric view of OBI press, and this also shows the same. And this is another mechanical press. Now let us discuss the working of the press. You can see the slide, and here you can observe this is the motor from which mechanical energy is transferred to the flywheel. This flywheel basically acts as a energy reservoir. The motor rotates the flywheel. As it rotates at a specific speed, it possesses large amount of energy, and this energy is used or utilized for press work operation. Here you can observe that this is crankshaft and this is connecting rod and this is slide. This is also called as ram. This flywheel continuously rotates, and the rotary motion is converted into reciprocating motion of the slide, and the up and down motion of the slide is utilized in giving the required pressure for changing the shape and size of the component. You can see the position of the booster plate here. This is bed, and you can also see the pedal which is used to operate the clutch. So whenever you wanted to transmit the power to the ram, so the pedal is to be operated, thereby it engages the clutch, thus the energy is transmitted to the ram. And the flywheel acts as a energy reservoir which supplies large amount of energy that is required during a cutting operation or pressing operation, and the same can be seen here. Now you can see the die set here, and this male component is known as punch, and this is known as die or die block, and this punch is attached to the ram, which is made to move either directly or indirectly, whereas this die and die set are mounted properly at a correct place on the bed. So, this is the booster plate. You can see here, this is the stock, and this is the blank being cut by the punch action. So, in fact, the punch and die act as a tool in cutting the material to the required shape and size. So, in some cases you know it very well, there are some metal cutting dies and also forming dies. So, here it is an example for metal cutting dies where a washer is cut from the stock metal, and this is called stripper, which we will discuss right now. And you can see, let us discuss the press tool terminology. Die set. It is an unit assembly which incorporates a lower and upper show, two or more guide posts and guide post bushings. So, the punch as well as the die together can be called as die set. Die block. It is a block or plate which contains the die cavity. So, this die cavity is just similar to that of the component to be produced, and this is I can say it is a female component. This is now lower show. Lower show is also die holder. The lower show of a die set and is generally mounted on the booster plate of a press. The die block is mounted on the lower show. The guide posts are also mounted on the lower show. In fact, the guide posts are required to guide the proper motion to the ram, so that no misalignment will take place. Upper show. Upper show, it is the upper part of the die set that holds the punch plate in position. It contains guide post bushings into which the guide post is moving. Punch plate. It is also called as punch retainer. It fits closely over the punch and holds the punch in proper relative position. Backup plate. It is also called as pressure plate. It is used to reduce the intensity of pressure on the punch holder, and this plate distributes the pressure over a wide area to avoid crushing. So, as the whole force is transmitted through the punch, and unless a sufficient precaution is taken, the punch holder may also punch on the other side. So, as to prevent this one, a plate is required at the back side of the punch, so as to take up the pressure which distributes the pressure properly and avoid crushing. And now let us discuss the nomenclature of die. Die. It is the female part of the complete tool for producing work in a press. Punch. So, here this is the punch. It is the male component of the die assembly and is directly or indirectly moved by the ram or slide. And you can see that this is the punch. Of course, it is specially shaped, and here in this this is stock. Here the stock can be placed here. This is stripper plate, and you can see this is die cavity. So, this you can also observe some angle, and this is called clearance angle, and we will discuss about this clearance at later stage. And the same die set can be seen here again. Now, let us discuss the cutting action in die and punch operation. So, as you know very well that the die and punch operation may be used either for blanking operation or piercing operation. So, let us see how the cutting action will take place. So, you can see this diagram. and this is the punch, and this is die, and this is die cavity, and this is stock material. So, the pressure is applied by the punch. So, this constitute the cutting edge. So, the periphery will act as cutting edge. Here also the periphery of the cavity will also act as cutting edge. When pressure is applied to the punch, so you can observe that this portion is being pierced. So, you can see the next one very clearly, and as soon as some pressure is exerted by the punch on the stock material, and you can see first a small radius or curvature is formed here at the sharp edge of the punch as well as at the sharp edge of the die. You can also see this diagram. And as the punch further advanced, and the portion here will gets burnished to some extent, and also at the lower end also. And now the burnished portion on the stock material can be seen here, and here the burnished portion on the slug. So, this is slug, this can also be seen here. And as the punch further advances downwards, so this is the position. And if the punch further moves downwards, it can be seen that the slug gets separated from the stock material and ready to fall down. And here the next step, that is the at the end a tensile bar may be formed at these 2 points. Of course, this is to be finished at later stage. In fact, during this operation, punching operation, the main reason for failure is the shear stress induced in the material exceeds the ultimate tensile shear stress of the material. And you can observe as soon as the punch starts its downward penetration, so a crack will be propagated from the punch end as well as die end. So, only at the sharp edges the crack will try to propagate into the material, and if both the cracks meet at the common point, then the cutting action will be perfect. If at all due to any reason or because of excessive clearance, if the 2 cracks will not meet, then the cutting action will not be efficient enough. And you can see in another diagram how the tensile bulb will be formed at these 2 points. And the stresses in the workpiece can also be observed from this diagram. So, as the punch is moving downwards or penetrating, so how the stresses are developed. So, here this portion is subject to tensile stress, whereas this portion is subjected to the compressive stress. In fact, the stress that is responsible for the failure of the metal is only the shear stress. Cutting action can also be observed from this diagram. So, this is upper shear, that is nothing but punch, and this is a die, that is which is attached to the lower show, it is also called as lower shear. So, here this is the cutting edge, and this is the cutting edge in the die, and this is the stock material. Here the tensile stresses will be developed here, whereas here the compressive stresses will be developed here. And the cutting action can also be observed from this diagram very clearly, and this is the stock, and this is the lower shear, that is the die portion, this is upper shear, this is punch portion. As the upper shear is advancing downwards, and you can observe how the slag is being cut. The fracture will take place here, and this is the remaining stock. And this so as to cut the material, the punch need not move through the entire depth of the stock. So, if it moves off the way or through some depth, the cutting action will be completed, and this depth through which it moves downwards for cutting action is known as penetration. Penetration is nothing but the depth by which it penetrates the metal, and cutting action can also be observed from this diagram. Now, die clearance. So, die clearance is a very important factor. Let us see die opening. must be sufficiently larger than punch to permit clean fracture of the metal. As was just discussed right now, so as to have a clean fracture, the crack propagated from the punch as well as die edge should meet at one point. Otherwise, the fracture may not be clean enough. So as to have clean fracture, the die opening must be sufficiently larger than punch. So this difference in dimensions between the mating members of the die set is called die clearance. Die clearance is a very important factor for perfect machining or perfect cutting operation. So let us discuss the die clearance. So die clearance totally varies from operation to operation. In case of blanking operation, we have to provide clearance on the die. For piercing operation, we are supposed to provide the clearance on die, whereas it is clearance on the punch. So for blanking operation, so blanking means so as to cut the material of required shape. So it can be observed if this is the D is the size, actually size to be cut, the clearance is to be provided in the die itself. So the size of the punch is less than twice the clearance. If C is the clearance on one side of the die, so D minus 2C is the size of the punch, whereas D is the size of the die hole. So clearance is only provided on the punch. Whereas in case of piercing operation, or it is also called as punching operation, so the clearance should be provided in the die. So because during piercing operation or punching operation, the dimension of hole is important. So as to punch a hole of required size, the punch size must be exact and the clearance is provided on the die. So the net opening is D plus 2C, where C is the clearance on one side. And punching operation, so the same can be observed here. It is a cutting operation by which various shaped holes are made. So it need not be round shape, various shaped holes can be made or punched out from the sheet metal. It is just similar to blanking operation, except that in punching, the hole is the desired product. The material punched out from the hole is being waste. Clearance in punching operation. In punching operation, when the hole is the desired and accurate to size, punch is made to size and die opening is larger than the size by twice the clearance, which we have discussed by showing the diagram. Now blanking operation. You know, the blanking operation, cutting a flat piece from a sheet metal is nothing but blanking. The blank metal article punched out from the sheet is called blank, and the operation is called blanking operation. The remaining sheet metal left behind is discarded as a waste. The clearance in blanking operation. In blanking operation, the slug or blank is the desired part and is to be of accurate size. The punch size is lesser than the size of the component by twice the clearance. Now the same old diagram is shown for your clarity. So here this is the punch and this is the die and this is the die cavity and this is the stock material, and here the clearance, this is angular clearance, which we will discuss right now. Now clearance. Clearance is a function of the kind and thickness of the material and also the temper of the work material, and it also depends on the hardness of the materials. Harder the materials require larger clearance than softer materials. Exception is there for aluminum. And the usual clearance per side of the die C for various metals are given below in terms of stock thickness T. If T is the thickness of the stock material, the clearance to be provided on the die or punch may be like this. So material clearance. For brass or soft steel, the clearance is 5% of T. For medium carbon steel, which is harder than this one, the clearance is 6% of T. High carbon steel, which is much more harder than both these two, it is 7% of T. However, The exception is for aluminum, which is very soft. Even though it is soft, it is 10% of T. Now, angular clearance. We have seen earlier in the die cavity at the bottom some angular clearance is also allowed. So, this is the for this portion during which the dimension is same is called land, and this is the cutting edge and this is the land. This is the straight portion, and below it you can see the tapered portion, and this tapered portion is required to be provided on the die, and this tapered portion is known as angular clearance. So, this is essential to have easy disposal of the blank. Angular clearance. Angular clearance or angular relief is provided to enable the slug to clear the die. It is provided below the straight portion of the die surface you have seen in the diagram. It is usually 2.5 degrees or 1.5 degrees to a maximum of 2 degrees only. Now, let us discuss about stripping. After a blank has been cut out by the punch on its downward stroke, the scrap strip has a tendency to expand. On the return stroke of the punch, the scrap strip has the tendency to adhere to the punch and be lifted by it. So, it can be observed as soon as the hole is punched, because the material gets expanded due to elastic in nature. The remaining material or scrap still holds the punch. Unless it is removed, the operation cannot be continued. The process of removing the remaining scrap strip from the punch is called stripping. So, this is a very important operation to be carried out in punching a operation. Stripping. This action interferes with the feeding of the stock through die, and some device must be used to strip the scrap material from the punch as it clears up the die block. Such a device is called stripper or stripper plate. As was discussed just now, unless the plate or the waste material or scrap is removed from the punch, we cannot continue the process further. So, as to do it, and a plate known as stripper plate is used. It is a device used for stripping operation. Strippers are of two types. One is fixed strippers, or these are also called as stationary strippers. The second one is spring loaded strippers or movable strippers. Now, you can see the fixed or stationary stripper. Here this is punch and this is die, and this is the blank, and here this is the stripper. So, in fact the stock is moved perpendicular to the plane of your television. As it is moving, after punching operation is over, the remaining scrap may be lifted up, and this moving up of the remaining scrap material is being prevented by this stripper plate. So, it is fixed, and hence it is called a stationary stripper. Here this is an example for spring loaded or movable stripper. So, here this is a die and a die cavity, and this is the stripper here. So, the stock is moved like this, and after punching the operation, this stripper exerts some pressure on the remaining stock material. As a result of this one, the stock material is kept in position. Now, let us discuss about cutting forces. In cutting operation, as the punch is in its downward movement enters the material, it need not penetrate the whole thickness of the stock in order to effect the complete rupture of the stock. If T is the thickness of the stock material, the punch need not cut the stock throughout its thickness T. So, if it penetrates a part of the thickness, that is sufficient for the rupture or failure to take place. The distance which the punch enters into the work material to cause rupture to take place is called penetration and is usually expressed as the percentage of the stock thickness. So, this penetration is the distance which the punch moves downwards for failure to take place or cutting action to take place is totally expressed as percentage of stock thickness. The percentage of penetration depends on the material being cut and also on the stock thickness. And it not only depends on the material being cut, whether it is soft or hard, it also depends on the thickness of the stock material. When a hard and strong material is being cut, very little penetration of the punch is necessary to cause fracture. Hard materials such as hardened steel etc., high carbon steel etc. is to be cut or sheared, the penetration required is less, whereas with softer material the penetration is greater. From this table we can observe if the material is soft aluminum, the percentage of penetration is only 60% of T. If it is 50% carbon steel annealed, only 38% of thickness T, and if it is 50% of carbon steel annealed, it is only 24% of T. So, from this it is quite clear that harder the material, the percentage of penetration is less. It can be observed that percentage of penetration also depends on the stock thickness, and smaller for thicker sheets and larger for thinner sheets. Table shows the relation between stock thickness and percentage of penetration. Stock thickness in mm and percentage of penetration. If stock thickness is 25%, only 25% of penetration is sufficient. If stock thickness is less, that is 20 mm only, the percentage of penetration increases to 31. If it is 10 mm, it is 44%, if it is 5, it is 56%, if it is below 1.6 mm, and it is 80%. So, it is quite evident that as the stock thickness is decreasing, the percentage of penetration is increasing. Now, let us see what is the maximum force that is required for cutting action. The maximum force required to cut the material is given by the following equation. F maximum is pi dt into T, where in case of circular holes or circular punch, d is the diameter, or it is also equal to P into T into the T. So, in fact, where P is nothing but perimeter of the punch or the die, and T is the stock thickness, and T is the factor that takes the thickness into consideration. And where you can see the perimeter of the section to be blank, and T is the maximum shearing strength. This is tau, this is maximum shearing strength, the stock material, that is maximum permeable shearing stress of the material. Now, let us discuss about the energy required in press work. Energy in press work or the work done to make cut is given ideally as E is equal to F maximum into K into punch travel, where K is nothing but the percentage of penetration required to cause rupture. The F maximum can be estimated from the earlier expression. Now, let us discuss about the dies. There are different types of dies are there. One is inverted die, next progressive dies, next one compound dies, next combination dies, and blanking dies. Let us discuss all these dies one by one. Inverted die. Inverted die, the diagram shows the inverted die. Here from the name itself, it is quite evident the die is inverted. That is, the punch is attached to the burst plate, and die is attached to the top plate. You can observe that this is the stock and this is the punch. You can see that this is the punch and this is the die cavity, and the same can be shown here. And of course, the same blanking operation can be done by using this inverted die also. The advantage of inverted die is that even the thickness of the stock material or the blank cut is thin, it will not be deflected and the blank is perfect. Next one is progressive die. The progressive die is specially used to cut or perform two operations on the stock. The name itself indicates it is a progressive. That means the two operations are conducted on the same material progressively, and here it can be seen this is one punch, this is another punch, and this is a die cavity, and this is another die cavity, and this is a stock, and this station is called first station, and this station is called second station. Of course, as the ram is moving downwards, so first the hole is made by punching operation of this by this punch, and in fact this is this causes blanking operation. So as to make a ring, first a central hole is being punched at this station, and the stock is moved further to the next station exactly, and this hole punched earlier will be located in this pin. This is called guide pin, and which holds the stock in position, and remaining blanking operation will be carried by this remaining punch. So thus you can see this component can be manufactured by using the same die set. So here two operations are carried out. One is punching operation and blanking operation. As a result, a component can be manufactured by using a single die. Of course, it is completed in two stations. Now this is another diagram of a progressive die. So it can be observed here. Here this is the guide pin which locates the piece being cut here. So this is one punch where the first hole is manufactured, and it is moved to the next station where exactly this locating pin locates and locates properly the workpiece, and this punch punches and blanks the component. So thus two operations are completed in two different stations, and the same diagram is also shown here again for your clarity, and this is the same diagram which is again shown for further clarity. So here this actually unwanted material, this is punching operation is taking place here, here the blanking operation is taking place here. So this is die cavity, and of course this is also die cavity. Here this is punching die, and this acts as a punching die, and this acts as a blanking die here. Now the workpiece, let us see if such a workpiece is to be manufactured, and this can be manufactured by using progressive die. Workpiece punched by using progressive die. So you can see the special shape of this workpiece, and this is the strip or the stock material, and this is our operation, punching operation carried out at first station. So this is the first station where as a result of punching operation these three holes are made, and then the stock moves to the exactly to the second station, where the second punch causes punching operation which removes this material, and next the same strip moves to the third station where it is exactly located, and then so this is a blanking operation. So as a result, ultimately this workpiece is prepared or manufactured. So it is quite interesting that all these operations at first station, second station and third station will be performed at a single stroke of the ram. So as the ram moves upwards, the stalk is made to move through some exact predetermined distance, so that the holes made at the first station moves exactly to the second station, where the second operation is also completed along with these holes. And as the ram moves upwards, again the stalk is moved exactly by a perfect distance, so that it is positioned correctly for the third operation takes place. Of course, all these three operations at first station, second station, third station will be carried out simultaneously. As a result, finally the component is blanked out at the third station, which can be collected from the bottom of the die of exact shape and size. Here the three operations are carried out sequentially by using this progressive die, which is very advantageous. So like this, for special applications, this progressive dies will be designed to carry out different operations successfully. And compound die. Compound die is also used to manufacture the components by performing two operations at a time, that is blanking operation and piercing operation. Of course, the blanking operation, piercing operation can be carried out in a single stroke in progressive die also, but this cutting operation will be carried out at two different stations. At first station the punching operation will be carried out, at the second station the remaining blanking operation will be completed. Whereas in this case compound die, both the operations will be completed at a single station, or at the single stroke of the ram both the operations punching as well as blanking operations will be completed. You can see that here this is this acts as a blanking punch, and this punch acts as a piercing punch. So this punch, as it moves downwards, it punches a hole, and this punch, this is also actually a punch which causes a blanking. So you can see that this is a blanking punch, blanking die, and this is a blanking punch, and this is a punching punch, and this is a punching die. So as a result, a component like this or a washer may be manufactured or pressed out in single stroke of the ram. So that is the advantage of compound die, and all the other components of the die can be observed here. So these are the springs, and a knockout pin is also required so as to knock out the material being pressed from the die cavity. So because after cutting it may slightly enlarge and may grip in the die cavity unless it is stripped out. So it cannot, it will not come out. So strippers can also be seen here. It is enlarged here, enlarged you can be seen here. Now compound die. So this compound die, you can see same another diagram of the compound die can be shown. Same. This is a combination die. Combination die differs than that of compound die, in which not only the cutting operations but also the forming operations can also be carried out on the combination die. So, combination die, the name itself indicates both cutting operation and forming operations can be combined together. In single stroke, here this is the workpiece to be manufactured from a sheet metal. So, it is to be formed by means of pressing operation into a dish shape. So, this is only possible by forming operation. So, not only just forming, but also cutting the blank will also be carried out in this combination die. So, that is the advantage of this combination die, and which combines two operations, that is either forming operation as well as the cutting operation. So, all the other components can be seen. So, the punch, the die, and of course, the forming die and forming punch, and cutting die and cutting punch can also be seen here. So, this is the workpiece, you can see, and this is knocking pin which knocks out the component. So, this is the stripper plate is shown here, and the same enlarged view can be seen very clearly here. So, adjustment screw, you can see, die show, blanking die, you can see here blanking die. So, these blanking dies are used for blanking operation. So, that blanking operation may be either cutting operation or forming operation. In forming operation, special forms can also be formed by blanking a dies. So, this blanking die is the simplest blanking die which uses rubber pads. So, the blanking die, this is a special type blanking die which uses the Guria process. So, a special formed component can be manufactured. So, this is a rubber one, and when the pressure is applied by the ram, so it is shaped to a special shape. Thus, the required shape can be formed by using this blanking dies. So, blanking die in operation you can see, and this is another view of the blanking die. So, another view of the blanking die. So, in blanking, even such a component or the workpiece can also be blanked out from the blanking die. So, in this class we have discussed different types of press operations, principle of press operations discussed, the various parts of the press tool were discussed, and the cutting action was discussed. The we have discussed about the clearance, and also we have discussed the factors that affects clearance, and how the cutting action will take place also was discussed in detail, and we have also discussed various the dies such as inverted die, blanking die, compound die, and combination die, and progressive die. In the next class we will discuss about the die design in detail.
అంతలో రాయొచ్చు. cosec square theta is equal to 1 plus cot square theta.